So it appears that Dorit is the star of Bravo TV's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay, maybe she's not the star of the show, but she's certainly underrated. You know, the show itself, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, within the franchise on Bravo TV, always gets so much shine, but doesn't always deliver. Maybe in the earlier seasons, you know, you had Lisa, you had Camille, you had Kim Richards. Like, it was a different show. And over the years, there's been some great cast members, Lisa Rinna specifically, but the show hasn't really continued to hold up. I'm randomly Ronnie Jr. I like to affectionately call myself a reality TV expert, a title I give myself for no reason at all. But if you want to support, patreon.com/randomly Ronnie Jr., and we could, of course, talk more. Okay, so first and foremost, I just gotta say about Dorit, I just don't think she gets the shine she deserves. She's underrated. First thing we should talk about is her initial season versus how she looks in the current seasons. I mean, this glow up, looks aren't everything, but it's definitely, wow. So for the most part, I gotta say, I think that Dorit is a little bit underrated. She doesn't get her shine. I don't know why. Now, specifically, to be honest about something, when watching Real Housewives, I watch all the franchises for the most part, but Beverly Hills was always a struggle. It was. The earlier seasons were great with Camille, Kim Richards, Lisa Rinna later on. Like, there was some good stuff, Brandy. But, I kind of fell off enjoying it because Kyle was always at the helm and she was always very boring from season 1, episode 1, frame 1. And this never changed then and will never change now. And so the interesting thing is I kind of fell off of it by the time Dorit started the show, and watching her earlier, coming onto the show versus who she's turned into, I could imagine is a little bit different and such a variety and such a change in personality. So maybe, who knows? But I'm just going off now, and maybe I should go back and rewatch. But I like her. I feel like she's refreshing. I feel like she's doing her job. One of the criticisms she got this season was, oh, you're shopping too much. You're putting everything on a credit card and you're going through this tumultuous divorce. Like, is that the best move? Probably it isn't. However, this is a show, and this show is about being glamorous. I don't think it's like the moral side of it to make it sound like, oh, she should do what's right for, the betterment of her life and her family. It's like the show is to be glamorous. Like, that is what the show is. And if anything, for this show, I'm not saying this is a general rule, but for this show, her laying into her fashion side, being close with Rachel Zoe, like stuff like that can only help her career. But, to have a cast members is one thing, but the audience, is another. The audience, I definitely get it, because it's like you're watching somebody essentially blow money for nothing. But for the surrounding cast members to like call her out on that, it's like, good and darn well that her living up a luxurious lifestyle on this show, even in a hard time going through divorce, is actually better for her career. And you know that. Like, if someone's watching, they may not get that, but it does offer a little bit of, continuously pushing the brand. Maybe it coincides with the book that's coming out or not coming out, but it's at least a shot. And I give Dorit a lot for taking a shot. Like, she goes for it. And, sometimes you win on being practical, and sometimes you win on, throwing that caution out there and just doing what you feel will work. And yeah, it's almost like when you give the critique to her, it's almost like you're hoping, or not hoping, but you're like, well, I warned you. It's like, well, why aren't you behind me? That's, but maybe I'm more like Dorit. Maybe my personality is the same. Maybe I'm a Dorit. I think what I think. Anyway, it did become a huge storyline in the current season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. But I thought I didn't really see too much about it. Now, her going to events late and really holding everyone up, I don't think that's cool. I think that's like, something that can happen multiple times. But when you don't have an apology for other people's time, that could get a bit challenging. So she should probably, think differently about like, okay, I'm going to show up to these events. I can't, play with people's time. I think she's overwhelmed though, because I feel like she understands that Erika went through what she went through, and Erika just hovered right there so far up and in, within Kyle Richards, and is sort of, gets the first class treatment because of it. And Dorit's like, I didn't do that. kudos to you for doing that move. It's a silly move, but effective, but silly. Let me do it this way. And that's to say, I love Erika. Erika is one of the reasons I enjoy the show. But Erika did make a concerted effort to kind of really hover under Kyle. So, okay, do that. Fine, that's good for you. But, like, don't knock Dorit for it. That's just kind of maybe what I think about it. But this is just how I feel, to operate on a space of what you believe and your integrity and how you get down is pretty cool, in my opinion. To operate where you got to hover up under someone, you're welcome to do so, but don't ever, like, then Erika turn around and look at Dorit, like you're above her. Like, I think they're both great on the show. I actually love Erika, so to say this is funny. And when Erika and Dorit had the little falling out or any fallings out they've had throughout the course of these seasons, it's always been fun to watch because I like them both. I always say, this is like my golden rule with this TV show on Bravo TV, when you have two cast members that you love and they don't get along, it's quality TV. Historically, I would say that I love Melissa Gorga and I love Dolores Catania. And it seemed like for a long period of time, they did not like each other. Now, they didn't not like each other, but they didn't like each other. You get what I'm saying? They didn't like each other. And it makes for fun because you're like, you love them both. In that case, obviously, I'm way more of a Melissa fan than Dolores, but I love Dolores quite a bit. Same thing here. Anyways, that was just like a little perspective. It's like, give Dorit a break, Erika. Like, and who are you working for? Like, your check comes from NBC Universal Bravo, but you run this season, to be honest, for many seasons now, post Tom. Like, your boss is the gal that was married to Mauricio. That's how you run your operation. You're welcome to do so, but don't look down upon Dorit because she's maybe even foolishly trying to stand on her own, I mean, and it's a weird thing, stand on her own. Obviously, PK, nudged and helped her, over those years. But I don't know. To me, this is one thing. Just don't count. I couldn't count Dorit out, but I wouldn't count Erika out either. Both of them are tough as nails. So again, I don't like them arguing. I would, if I was casting or doing the show, I would be like more Dorit, more Erika, less of Mauricio's ex-wife, or current wife. Who knows? 16 seasons on the show, and who knows? But anyways, just not being too judgmental because I do not watch a ton of Bravo's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills throughout the course of all, season 1 through now. Again, specifically because there has always been a weakest link that's sort of won in the show for whatever reason. A lot of structural power coming on that side. Don't have to do much and you still win. That's a great little situation. Wow. But nonetheless, it's made for a time now where the fan base is looking for, how does this show get better? Was this a solid season? Was it a boring season? I can't say that I think it's a boring season because I do believe that Rachel Zoe really makes sense. Amanda is quite fun. Bose gets, engaged and goes through all these things, getting older, stuff with fertility. I mean, even stuff within IRL, with the home, I believe was in the Palisades, and just a lot to kind of get through. It's a great show. It's a great cast. It's a great group. But if there is something that's slowing something down, you got to celebrate the goods. And I think the goods are Erika is really entertaining, but Dorit is underrated. So I'm always going to say, I think she's a little bit underrated. Why doesn't she get her shine she deserves, I think, as far as a cast member? But, that's how it goes. Sometimes the coolest cast members, they'll be so good that, they're not invited back. I mean, Lisa Rinna. Lisa Rinna, who gets rid of Lisa Rinna? That just, to me, I mean, she needs to come back. Valerie Cherish needs to come back. So sometimes if you are so good and have so much quality, you may not actually get to kind of be in the mix of a show as such, an ensemble, especially this sort of ensemble. But, I believe that each of the cast members, like we all have to do in our own situations, is going to rise to the occasion and pivot and make moves and kind of work things out for the betterment of themselves, And Dorit's visual look has been glow up enough. So not that looks, as we say, looks don't matter, but I mean, she's in a good place. She might meet some wonderful person to date, and kind of pick up the pieces as it may be. But the question is, what is your favorite part of Beverly Hills Housewives, the TV show on Bravo, produced by Andy Cohen? You know, are you loving it still? Do you miss Garcelle on the show? Do you miss Lisa Rinna on the show? Do you want to see Brandy back on the show? Do you want to see Kim Richards back on the show? Do you want to see Kyle on the show for 17 more years? Like, what would make Beverly Hills Housewives a fantastic show and back to original, real exciting reality TV like we have not seen in quite a while? Dorit's not going to fix it alone, but I'm giving 1 to 10, 1 out of 10. You know, I'm ranking her. She's like a solid 9, you know. I would love to see more from Dorit, and Dorit will always land on her feet, you know, and she even kind of breaks that down too. You know, oh, I had a career in fashion prior to meeting PK, and you know, my life was going in this direction. So you got to like let people maybe return to the best version of themselves. And if they constantly give you the same thing, well, then what are we watching a TV show for? And Dorit at least is challenging elements of that in the best possible way. And the funniest thing about that darn Dorit, you ever notice how stern her face always looks? Not only does she have the interesting vocal tone, and she talks a little like this and then a little like this, and this is all over the place, that Dorit, with the many little voices of Dorit. But the funnier thing about that is not only does she have that within her vocal, she also has that in the way she stares at the other cast members. Like, her face goes from like she's either mad or stern when she's, you know, unfavored in the conversation, or she like laughs big and happily and all these like big energy. But there's not like a Dorit giggle. You know, I love a giggle on somebody. That middle, like, you know, that little fun enjoyment. Dorit doesn't have that. She's either stern, looking right at you through you, or she's like, you know, with full of joy. And I've noticed that when I watch this show. It's one thing that I think is so fascinating by Dorit. She does not giggle. She's either fully happy and warm and big energy, or she's fully frustrated, stern, looking you right in your eye, right through you. Or, but there's never like a little like, oh God, that was funny, guys. Like, she doesn't have that sweetness to her. So maybe I just think she's fun to watch on the TV. Anyways, what's your favorite part of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Are you still watching? You know, maybe this franchise is good and gone. Time to go. Pack it up. Who knows?